Our strategy is to acquire and hold Bitcoin. If you go and you pull out our SEC statements, our annual report, our 10Qs, it's a filing. We make that filing to the public to tell all the investors what the company intends to do.
Yeah.
And our strategy is not to trade it. Our strategy is to buy it and to hold it. We've been very clear in that. I've been very clear. Again, I think it's the apex property of the human race, which means that it's going to go up forever. It'll have volatility, but over time it should appreciate. So it would be foolish to sell high quality property. I think that the best way to understand this is, think about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is famous for this phrase, our ideal holding period is forever. That's what he said. I mean, I'm not the guy that invented the forever, right? Warren Buffett, when I was a child, told everybody the ideal holding period is forever. And he's famous for like one investment, Coca-Cola. And what is Coca-Cola? I mean, everybody knows what Coca-Cola is. It's the greatest beverage brand in the world.
It is.
And he likes it because it has brand value. Now, most people don't really understand what brand value is. They don't think that hard about it, but let me explain it. If I fired everyone at Coca-Cola and I blew up every Coca-Cola factory and plant and I destroyed every bottle of Coca-Cola in the world.
Yeah.
And I had to start the company from scratch, it would still be worth $50 or $100 billion. It would still have a massive brand value. And the reason why is because there's 8 billion people on the planet. So how many people in Turkey know what Coca-Cola is? If I ask them. Everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to destroy a brand, it's not enough to destroy the company and the product. Yeah. I have to erase the memory of the people. I have to kill 8 billion people, or I have to reach into their head. If I'm like one of those X-Men, like Professor Xavier, I'd have to go into the head of everybody in the world and rip Coca-Cola and the memory of it out of their heads.
Yeah, actually, Michael, I can give you an example on this. I was at a university doing a conference about developing brands and how the marketing works in different countries and that. And one question I asked the students, I was like, okay, because I think Coca-Cola, the marketing of Coca-Cola is genius, since it started. And I asked them a question. I said, okay, what comes to your mind when I say Coca-Cola? And everyone came up with an answer. They said the writing, the bottle, red, there's so many things. Nobody said drink. So for me, that is an amazing marketing coming back from the very early years, that it's just in your mind, in there. Like you said, even if you destroy everything, Coca-Cola will always be there as a brand. So I 100% agree with you.
Let me illustrate how it has a commercial value. Go into any restaurant in the world, sit down. They ask you, what do you want to drink? And if you want to drink a non-alcoholic, non-water beverage, okay, I'll have a Mr. Pibb. No. I'll have a Dr. Pepper. No. I'll have some random cola. What do you have? We have Coke. Yeah. I'll have a Coke Zero. We don't have that. We have Diet Coke. You have Diet Coke? Yeah. You have Coke, you have Diet Coke, and 10 years later, 5% of the companies have a Coke Zero. But if you go all these places, you get so demoralized. You're like, I don't even bother to ask for anything other than a Diet Coke if I want a non-alcoholic, non-sugar beverage, because I know that there's a 95% chance they're going to deny me. I think one interesting model is to ask yourself the question, who are the other people that are buying this thing? Why did they buy it? If I'm buying a building in Istanbul, why do other people buy buildings in Istanbul? If I'm buying gold, what do the other gold investors think? If I'm buying Bitcoin, what do the other Bitcoiners think? Why did they buy it? How long do they intend to hold it? And then the second question to ask yourself is, who am I going to sell it to in a decade? Or who am I going to sell it to when I decide to sell it? So if you apply that principle, for example, to Bitcoin, what do you think? that has evolved, but right now there are a lot of people buying Bitcoin to hold it for a long time period, the hodlers.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of the ethos. And it's interesting to everybody in the world. They call it, the currency of enemies or the money of enemies. Like an American could eventually sell a lot of Bitcoin to someone in China or Russia or the like. And generally, what's the plan? Well, the plan at MicroStrategy is to buy billions of dollars of it and hold it forever. Okay, so if you understand there are people that think that way, then the character of the investors will be the character of the asset, right? And so as you sort through all your various tokens and coins, and you try to choose between, like, am I going to buy Dogecoin, right? Who bought it? How long are they going to hold it? Who am I going to sell it to? Think about that. And then when you're considering whether you want to own property or gold or stocks, right? Even the type of stock, right? It's helpful when you think about who's in the group, the investment cohort that I'm investing with, because that gives you a sense of the volatility of the asset, the future of the asset, the longevity of the asset, and how you ought to handle it. And the research, you can do research on what is it, and like you can study how it works, right? And what does it do?
Yeah.
But you can also do research on who else is owning it and buying it. Are they selling it? Are they buying it? And when someone says, I bought it instead of gold, well, that's a signal. When they say, well, I bought it because, I think Facebook or Google are going to build it into their iPhone or their Android phone, that's a different signal. When they say, I bought it because I think that all of the cash and the credit on the balance sheets of every company on earth is crumbling, and I feel like this should replace that on their balance sheets, that's a different signal, right? If they say, I bought it because I think it's going to empower 2 billion people, economically empower people and lift them out of poverty, and I think it's a human right, that's a different thing. So try to figure out, what do people believe about the thing you're investing in? Who's owning it? And that'll tell you the future of it and how you ought to treat it. And, it's pretty helpful. If I did own a city block in Istanbul, figure out when I decide to sell it, who can I sell it to? Is it 5 families? Is it 50 families? How liquid is the market? Why will they buy it? Right?